One, two, three. A lot has been said, but today, let me just say, it is the whole, what you see here behind is the whole government, from the state to national to local government. And all of us have come today to implement what has been decided and recommended many years ago. As the Bank of South Sudan, we are a microcosm of this economy. And so as we come today, we have come to open a branch in one of the strategic places in this country. One can even go further to say that there's no, at the moment, there are very few places in South Sudan that can be compared to Nimule because of its strategic location. With this, let me say, it gives me an immense pleasure to say a word or two during this grand opening of the branch in Nimule. This event, in our view, will go down as one of the momentous events, given that Nimule is a strategic location for South Sudan, because for it is both a gateway to South Sudan and a gateway to the rest of the world. As Honorable Nesare Gobi informed us earlier, that we should all look left. When you look left, you see commerce, you see trade, you see mobility, you see people. This is what Nimule provides to South Sudan, and that's a good thing for us. So we believe that Nimule is a strategic place. This journey, fellow citizen, the journey of the Bank of South Sudan to come to Nimule started many years ago. In fact, it was proposed by a number of my predecessors, starting in 2018-2019, that the Bank of South Sudan should go to Nimule. And as it was highlighted earlier by Honorable Africano Mande, that a number of government resolutions, starting in 2020, 2021, 2022, advised the Bank of South Sudan to expand the financial services across this great land of ours. So today, this is a fulfillment of a journey that started in 2019. We are glad that the better idea has come to fruition today. And with this, the Bank of South Sudan would like to appreciate everybody involved in the better idea, starting from His Excellency, our President, to the Governor of the state, to our people, and all of you that have gathered here this afternoon. Each of you has done something to make this day come true. So with that, the Bank of South Sudan would like to say thank you very much. Let me just single out a number of special categories and people and related institutions. Let me appreciate the following special people and applied institutions. First, starting with His Excellency the President, for encouraging and for his unwavering support during this journey, particularly his quest in seeing the bank expanding financial services to our people across the country. Second, I would like to thank all the stakeholders, from the state government to the local government to the community, especially the welcoming communities in Nimule that we have seen earlier during their dancing times. We thank all of you for hosting the Bank of South Sudan, as well as all the agencies from the commercial bank to the law enforcement and everybody involved in helping the Bank of South Sudan relocate and have a branch in this place. Finally, I would like to thank the entire staff of the Bank of South Sudan for seeing to it that Nimule branch becomes operational. Special thanks go to different committees that we have established in the last 1 month to come to Nimule to look for the place, to renovate, to hire, and even to ensure that we have a colorful occasion like what we have today. So for this, I wanted to say thank to all of them. As well, in this case, let me just say to the team, please pat yourself on your back for a job well done. Now, to the rest of the world, I'm just going to raise 3 questions while I try to answer them, because that's how I have designed the remarks that I wanted to deliver on this occasion. The first is, what is the imperative? How important is Nimule to South Sudan? It goes without saying that Nimule will allow the bank to open several windows from which clients or importing agents will directly make deposit into the government accounts. This, in our view, will boost revenue collection, ensure efficiency in tax collection. The branch in Nimule, in our view, as the bank, and all of you gathered this afternoon, is crucial because it will reduce risks related to collection, ensuring timely revenue mobilization, reducing bureaucratic red tape, stemming wastages, which were mentioned earlier, and at the same time, expediting transactions, as agents will have the opportunity to come to the branch to a window and make a deposit to the bank. Of course, what is deposited directly is not a responsibility of the central bank to spend. We just collect on behalf of the government, particularly the South Sudan Revenue Authority and the Ministry of Finance and the entire government. So what the bank is going to do by providing windows will make it easy for taxpayers to make payment for the clearance. And what the government will do at the end of it is not a decision of central bank. Broadly, direct window for revenue collection, as I mentioned earlier, will attract other financial services to the area and empower both individuals and businesses, particularly in the country and in the county and in the state. Some few weeks ago, the government made a strategic decision led by the Minister of Finance and the Revenue Authority and the Trade and the rest of the government to ensure that a cargo tracking system is provided. And so we believe that by operationalizing the e-tracking system, the branch will be in a position both to enhance accountability and transparency in the revenue collection. This will answer the question that was raised earlier. We see the cars moving, we are collecting so much, where is the money? When the branch is operational, it will go. And with the central bank, everything is recorded and your government would be in a position to use it based on its budget allocation framework. With this, the Bank of South Sudan would like to thank the Minister of Finance and the South Sudan Revenue Authority for introducing this innovative system, which will be a game changer according to the public opinion that we are hearing. Let me add, fellow citizens, that Nimule plays a pivotal role in facilitating trade, commerce, and interaction between South Sudan and regional and our trading partners. By bringing essential financial services closer to the people, we believe in our view that the Bank of South Sudan will foster financial inclusion. Moreover, the branch will bring the proverbial town to people. This is what the movement, the SPLM, have been talking about, bring town to people. So when we bring a branch of the bank to the town or to to the community, we believe we are also fulfilling one of the key objectives of the national government, which is bringing services closer to the people. We believe that by doing so, we will also create jobs. And I would just like to tell the honourable members of parliament that are present here and who have spoken earlier and who raised and encouraged the banks, and especially the notes that I saw here earlier that we read. Some of them were encouraging the bank to promote peace, to promote economic development, to reduce tribalism, to be fair, to create jobs. On behalf of the Bank of South Sudan, I would like to declare this afternoon that the bank has created so far 10 jobs, specifically for Eastern Equatoria State and in particular for Nimule and Mogui County. These particular jobs, you might even see some of them in the crowd. While the bank is yet to open the window, I believe by next week, we have already employed sorters, drivers, cleaners, messengers right from this area. And to be more particular, we are also conscious about the ethnicity of this country. So as a bank, we made sure that the 10 people do not come from one ethnic group. And there are so many ethnic groups in the area. So in this case, we make sure that they come from our all ethnicity. This is one of the diversity that the bank has put into the contract. My fellow countrymen, the significance of productions and efficient revenue mobilization cannot be underscored. It echoed what Honorable Yanga provided earlier, what Honorable Africano highlighted earlier, and this is in relation to the demonstration that the Honorable Member of Parliament made earlier, which is how does a national currency become strong? Production. Production, production, production. You produced in order to consume. If you have not produced, you will have so limited to go around. And when there are so few goods to go around, as we all know, prices are likely to go up. But when we have more of everything you need, prices will not go up. So our pound will only become more stronger every day when we produce more, to consume more, and exchange more. With this, let me invite all of you to contextualize the opening of the branch and relate it to the ongoing economic shocks, which point to the lack of economic diversification and insignificant nature of our revenue collection. What we are experiencing today in the country is a fiscal shock. It's a fiscal crisis originating largely from insufficient revenue collection and over-relying on a single source of income, and that is oil. To this end, we believe, all of us, and this has been a song, even before South Sudan became independent, that improving local production while raising sufficient revenue will enable your government to meet its obligation while improving economic recovery. One of those obligations, as I highlighted earlier, honorable members, is paying government public servant at the end of a given time. Your government is working hard and very hard, day and night, to ensure that it meets obligation. And as we open the branch in Nimule, it is our strong conviction that the collection by the Revenue Authority will improve, will become higher, and that will allow your government, the national government, to meet its obligation, including paying salaries on time. Let me say that from the standpoint of macroeconomic theory, and for those of you who have learned economic, intertemporal theory of consumption, production precedes consumption. You only consume what you produce in most cases. Otherwise, disequilibrium in the case of balance of payment, which is what we are facing today, will resolve. We know that South Sudan has a strong comparative advantage in many areas because we have so rich and fertile and arable lands and natural resources. Therefore, tapping into these resources and boosting agricultural production will be one way for us to produce more in order to consume more and sell more. Fellow citizen, when you produce more and sell more, it makes your currency stronger. Because what you sell brings in a foreign currency, which is what you can use to go abroad to command goods and services that we need. Because there are things that we don't produce in South Sudan, but we need them anyway. Let me just say, for example, we don't produce cars here. We don't produce certain type of foods and other equipment, machinery, even tractors to produce food. Because these are things that you have to buy from abroad. You need a hard currency, a currency of another country in order to buy them. But how do you get a currency of another country unless you produce to sell to get that currency? So everything revolves around production. And all the young people that are present here, what I'm saying is that if you have a farm, please encourage your mom and dad and sibling and aunties to produce this farming system, because that's what will help South Sudan. I wanted to raise a question that I've just answered, but in a different context. What exactly accounts for a stable or a strong currency? What do people think account for that? Improved economic production underpins stable currency. Let me declare that. We must note that when oil is affected in this country, we must know that everything is affected. And that is a disease or a weaknesses that we would like to chip away as a country. And how do we do that? By diversifying means of production and other sources of revenue. And these include tax collection, and that brings in the elements of Nimule. When oil is affected, it leads people to demand more currency of other people, and that leads to depreciation of our currency. This translated into higher prices in the market. In the end, whether we have the lack of hard currency or the demand for hard currency, all this triggers movement in the supply of money in the bank. That is a consequence. And as we know that always and everywhere, when there's an increase in money supply because people demand it, it triggers increase in prices. Fellow citizen, to minimize the risk associated with observed cyclicality in oil proceeds, South Sudan must diversify its source of national income and taxes. In this connection, I argue that economic diversification presupposes a focus on agriculture, where we enjoy what we call the Ricardian advantage. This proposition is rightly so because a large segment of our society depends on agriculture, especially as the mainstay of their subsistence. To come to an end of what I would like to highlight today, because our view is that the branch in Nimule will enable the national government to enhance revenue collection. But at the Bank of South Sudan, what are we doing to contribute in our own small way? I wanted to call it the urgency of now, and especially what we are doing to contribute to our mandate. Notwithstanding all the challenges that we face as a people, we are very resilient, we are peace-loving, and with this, we shall overcome all the crises that we have today, because your national government is working as a unity, and you, the people, are standing behind your national government to ensure that the support needed is provided. And with this collective effort, we cannot go backward, but forward. And in this context, let me highlight what the Bank of South Sudan is doing today. The bank will continue to conduct a sound monetary policy to ensure price stability and policy credibility. The focus at the moment include the following, and some of which are cross-cutting across the government. Your bank continues to strengthen its monetary policy framework by implementing restrictive monetary policy to curb inflation. We continue to diversify our sources of reserve, and as of last week, the bank is making effort to study what other banks are doing to include gold portfolio into our reserve mix, and we believe that will allow our currency to become stronger day by day. Your bank continues to coordinate with fiscal authorities to ensure that fiscal dominance is tamed. The bank continues, and as you have seen with this elaborate setting, that the banks continue to improve communication, especially with all the stakeholders and the market participants. The bank continues to expand branches across the country. As we are doing it today, the bank has done it in other states. And for the state where the branches are not open, the central bank is making effort to move to those branches. Because by doing so, we will achieve a number of things. First, we will provide financial services to our client. Number two, we'll create jobs. Number three, will enable the urban authority and the Minister of Finance to collect more. So our expansion is for a purpose. The bank will continue to improve the welfare of our staff while promoting capacity development and diversity. And that is undergirded or underpinned by what I have said earlier regarding the employment of local people in Nimule for the branch of the Bank of South Sudan. As we do so, many of you have mobile phones and other gadgets that are of high end. We are doing this in an effort to see what the region is doing, and that is improving the national payment system in an effort to ensure financial inclusion. That in the end will allow all of you not even to reduce your going to the bank, to reduce carrying cash, and just transact on your phone. So improving and working on implementing the national payment system is one of those. Since South Sudan joined the East Africa Community in 2016, the country and the bank has been making efforts for the last few years to fully integrate in a smart way into the East African community. And with this, when our President Salva Kiir Mayardit became the chair for the East Africa community, it is automatically sometime that the governor of the bank became a chair of one of the key bodies for the EAC, and that is the Monetary Affairs Committee of the East Africa. With this, the Bank of South Sudan is obligated to work in conformity with other central banks in the region. And with that, we are aligning with the EAC as it implements the roadmap for the establishment of the monetary union in East Africa. This is something along the line. It's expected to happen in 2032. But as a country, as the bank, we are doing our best to align, because like one of colleagues said years ago, East Africa has always been in South Sudan, even before the rest of us were born here. South Sudan has been always looking eastward instead of looking north. So when we became a country in 2011, immediately we made efforts to join other regional bodies. And the East Africa community became effective in 2016. So as of today, we are doing everything as a country and ask the bank to integrate. And one of those is aligning with the movement toward the establishment of monetary union. We are adapting to what the rest of the region is doing, and which is a price-based monetary policy framework. Finally, your bank is doing everything it can to collaborate with the other international financial institutions as a way to catalyze external additional resources which this country needs to achieve some of its mandate. Fellow citizens, my brothers and sisters, as I come to an end, let me note the following: that opening the Nimule branch today will create jobs for the local while raising revenue for the government. But this is an objective that cannot just be done by the Revenue Authority alone, by the Ministry of Finance alone, by the Ministry of Trade alone, by the Bureau of Statistics alone, and by the national and state government. This objective of producing and collecting more needs collective effort. To achieve this objective, I therefore call upon all the stakeholders to support this noble objective as the bank explores other options to open branches in other deserving locations across your beloved country. While the bank looks forward to your unfailing support, I encourage and I challenge and I urge and I even plead with all of us to roll up our sleeves as we see to it that Nimule become operational, and as all of us move this economy to the next frontier. With this, let me say it has been a pleasure sharing with you a few words on behalf of the bank this afternoon. As we leave, please go and do your duties. Make sure that if there's anything that the branch needs, please provide your support. If there's anything that the staff of the Bank of South Sudan needs, please provide your support. This, I place it before the government of Eastern Equatoria and the county and the town council and all the people that we have in the area and the national MPs, that the branch of the Bank of South Sudan in Nimule is in your collective hands. Because what the bank is going to do is for all of us, not for Central Bank, but for the people of South Sudan. With this, let me say thank you very much. May God bless this republic. May God bless all of us as we move forward to serve our country.